Hey guys, welcome to Casa de Fancy. We are going to take you through one of the most anticipated posts in a long time. We're going to teach you how to make the famous Mr. Fancy Old Fashioned. So Mr. Fancy's here. He's like the master cocktail maker in this house. He's going to walk you guys through it, talk you through the whole thing, teach you the tricks of the trade so that you can make one of these at your house too.
Fancy all of a sudden decided she liked to drink old fashions and was coming home. I need this, I need that. And so I started making them, and they could be pretty complex, a lot of work go into them. So me, I'm kind of lazy, so I slowly kind of came up with one that works, and everybody that's had it seems to love it. So I'm gonna walk you through here, and what we use is, we start with some simple syrup. I use about 1/4 teaspoon. I eyeball it, so, but I figure it's about 1/4 teaspoon to start to give it a little sugar base. And then we use these cherries, these Luxardo, is that how you say it?
Luxardo.
Luxardo cherries.
These are these are key. You have to have this kind of cherry.
Very key.
I mean, if you go to a restaurant and they are doing like a regular red cherry, you can just assume it's not gonna be delicious.
Yes. So I do one, and I get a little extra syrup in there because the syrup is delicious.
So good.
So we're gonna put one of those in here. And then after that, I normally do, and this is really up to your taste, I do anywhere from like 6 to 8, just your normal, well, this is the orange bitters. And then I also do the same amount of the traditional, I can't say the word, bitters.
Bitters is something, by the way, I will say this, that every bar should have. So I grew up, whenever we would have like a stomach ache or something, we would have bitters and soda. It was like a thing. I grew up, my parents always had this around, and so it's kind of one of those things that most people will have it in their bar. A lot of cocktails will like require it. It's good to have. This orange one is obviously not one that a lot of people have, but it's been a really great addition to our bar. I think we've used it like numerous times, and we love it in the old fashioned.
Right.
It actually takes away having to muddle in an orange. And I would say the reason that you kind of came up with this was the muddling of the orange. It was hard to get the exact flavor correct.
Right.
That was kind of why you tried this.
That is a very true statement. And again, you have to take the peel off. You got to muddle it with everything. So it's extra work to do. And I like to cut to the chase with the cocktails.
And I feel like sometimes it wasn't as good as the orange bitters. Like, cause you just never know how the orange is gonna be.
Yeah,
be like
consistency.
Weird orange. Yeah.
Right. So this will give you more of a consistent flavor in your drink.
Each time.
Once you put those in, you could technically muddle it. I actually don't muddle it anymore. I just stir it at the end, but you could muddle that to get the cherry.
If you want to take the extra step, you can muddle it. It's not necessary.
Definitely do it. Somebody that's muddled hundreds of mojitos over the years, you kind of get tired of muddling.
And if you haven't tried our mojito recipe, that's on the blog too. That's such a good one.
Right.
Okay.
So that's the hard part. The rest of it is really filling the glass back up with some ice. And I usually take this straight from the ice machine, so this is a little awkward. But I do recommend lots of ice. I think I go to places and people don't realize a good cocktail, if you're gonna drink it cold, put a lot of ice on it. Otherwise, it's kind of Lukish, warmish type, and it's not good.
And the whole reason that we ended up with this shape ice, it's called a top hat, is because these don't melt as quickly in alcohol.
It's a slow melt.
It's a slow melt. And I wanted the nugget ice maker, and the guy at the place told us, if you drink a lot of like cocktails, this will be better for you.
Right.
So if you're ever considering getting an ice maker and you do a lot of cocktails, these will not melt as fast. If you made it old fashioned with the nugget ice, they'd be melted in like no time.
Right. So the last thing is pouring in your alcohol. So we drink Crown. I've always drank Crown, and Ashley came home. Oh, I had this rye, I had this bourbon, and Crown is just a little smoother. And once I started making it with Crown, she liked it better. And so it's just easier because that's what we drink. But you can make it with whatever, rye, bourbon, whiskey. I've even had somebody come over and drink it with a scotch.
It just depends. And I would say like everywhere that we've had it, you mostly have to request the Crown if you're going to want the Crown. A lot of restaurants will do, it's usually the rye, I would say. But at the end of the day, you can use whatever for whiskey you're
Absolutely.
into and whatever you think is like a smooth flavor. This gives it a really smooth, easy flavor, which I had come home with one brand called Whistle Pig, which I had at a restaurant. It was actually delicious, but we could not get it to taste as good as the Crown here. So that's just kind of what we do, and it has worked really well for us, and it's
Right.
always like such a delicious drink. So let's
So
add
the last part is adding your whiskey in, and
he does not
I
use
eyeball
this.
it, but normally Fancy does about a shot, which is about to here. Okay.
So use
Or-
one of these as a shot.
Right, that's about a shot. If you're Mr. Fancy, you normally do like 2 shots, so it's probably about half the glass here. And sometimes I'll go back and add a little more ice because I do like my drinks cold.
So 1 to 2 shots, just depending on
Right.
like your
Taste.
and your tolerance for
Right,
alcohol.
exactly. So if you like it a little sweeter, less.
And I like it a little sweeter.
If
I
you
don't
like it less sweet, more alcohol. So, and then finally, the last thing is just to stir it around. You know, you can stir it as much as you want just to get a good stir in there. And then once you're done, you're ready to drink up. Cheers.